We want to welcome you to this special edition of the JOCO. And as always, when we get started, we'd like to acknowledge that we here in Southern California in the Los Angeles Basin do this work on Tongva land. Today we have a special guest to bring us up to date on the state attack against the African People's Socialist Party and the African People's Solidarity Committee, Mwezi Odom. Mwezi Odom joined the African People's Socialist Party to turn over her skills to the Vanguard Workers' Party under the leadership of the African working class. In her capacity, she serves as the administrative assistant to the office of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and leads the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa defense campaign. Mwezi is a proud African woman, a lover of African internationalism. She believes Africa and her people will be once again free and self-governing in her lifetime. And she is the mother to two of Africa's best daughters. We're coming up very soon on the anniversary of this raid by the state. So we're going to share the video with you of that raid and then turn it over to Mwezi to bring us up to date now that we're coming up on this year on the defense campaign and the efforts to have the charges dropped.
You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
They want.
I don't know.
Let's hold them the money.
Hold on.
Thank you.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Uhuru, thank you, Brother Youssef, for that introduction. And I'm going to go ahead and start to share my screen, and just want to really appreciate and salute everybody who is joining us today. And want to really appreciate Joko Collective for providing this opportunity for the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa campaign to present and give an update. So I will be moving fairly quickly through some of these slides because we did want to give some background information, as we understand that we are, as Brother Youssef opened up to say, that this is coming up on the year anniversary of the July 29 attacks on the African People's Socialist Party, which we just saw the video, which is just some of the footage of the raid. So I do want to give some background about who the party is, why they came under attack, and where we are today. So again, thank you so much, Joko Collective. And as has been said, my name is Mwezi Odom, and I have the honor of serving as the chairperson for the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense Campaign, which was initiated following those violent attacks on the African People's Socialist Party in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis, Missouri. So I cannot go any further without saluting Chairman Amalia Shatella, who is the founder of the African People's Socialist Party and leading the worldwide African revolution struggle, taking up the responsibility of many of African people throughout history who have made the commitment to lead African people to victory, to our liberation. So I want to salute Chairman, who we also understand is the main target of these attacks on July 29 and has been a target for quite some time. So just to give a brief history of the African People's Socialist Party, which was formed by 3 Florida-based organizations. This is the JOMO, the Junta of Militant Organizations, as well as the Black Rights Fighters and the Gainesville Black Study Group. These are all in Florida, and they came together in May of 1972 on African Liberation Day to form the African People's Socialist Party. And the APSP was founded with the goal to complete the revolution of the 1960s, because as we understand, during this period, African people and everybody around the world who was colonized and fighting for freedom was fighting an anti-colonial struggle. And the African People's Socialist Party understands that, and it's led by the theory of African internationalism, which understands that African people, the conditions that we experience are because of colonialism, and that it is colonialism that brought us as African people in chains and dispersed us, throughout the world, and, gave us these different identities and, understandings, and, put us all and locked really the whole world into an economic and political configuration, which we understand as the colonial mode of production. And I'll talk more about that. But some of the work that the African People's Socialist Party does and has been doing for over the past 50 years is fighting for the democratic rights of African people on all fronts, and has joined the struggles of, other oppressed peoples around the world for national liberation in the face of imperialism, which we understand has its roots in colonialism. So just want to salute the founding of the party and its work, and the theory of African internationalism, which is the theory to explain the world, which understands that and recognizes that capitalism was born parasitic, and it was born as a world economy and has its origins in its assault on Africa, and the global trade of African captives, and thus then the oppression and the colonization of others throughout the world, and the underdevelopment of Africa and the development of Europe as well. So that's just a brief understanding, but it's a theory of practice. And so we're going to see why the party has come under attack, because it is Chairman Omali Yeshitela's key understandings through the theory of African internationalism, which has which has developed the understanding of the colonial mode of production, that what we are experiencing is a colonial mode of production, and that everything that is produced for the colonizer comes at the expense of the colonized. And this is whether it's access to wealth, the experience of democracy, or even the ideas that are able to be, founded and developed, all come from the assault on Africa, and that there would not even be any Europe or even white people or even in America without colonialism. And so we understand the colonial mode of production, and the party is working to overturn this under the leadership of Omali Yeshitela. So these are just some photos of some of the concrete real material examples that the party has built. And I'm going to go through some of these fairly quickly. But on the left, you see here the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida. This was one of the institutions that was attacked on July 29. And on the right here, you see a photo of the Tyron Lewis Gym. This was created following the police murder of a young African in St. Petersburg, Florida, named Tyron Lewis, which which resulted in an uprising of the African community, known as the Battle of St. Pete, which I encourage everybody to go check that out on the Burning Spear TV. This was in 1996. But we also have other institutions of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, Uhuru Foods and Pies, Black Power 96 radio station, which is also come under attack. And we'll talk more about how these institutions have been impacted by these attacks and, under colonialism overall. But also the party has, done exactly what we have been told to do. If you want to see change in your community, run for elections and get on the ballot. And that's exactly what the party has done. It has ran electoral campaign work. Here are some images of Comrade Akile Anai, who you can see at the podium, and behind her on her right, or on our right, is Comrade Jesse Neville, who was one of the Uhuru Three. These are both comrades in the movement who ran political campaigns under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, under the banner of unity through, reparations and making the South Side Black again and fighting back against gentrification. And here are just some images from the campaign. So, but the, Uhuru means freedom, and it's important that African people have freedom on our minds 24/7. And so this goes worldwide. And so we say from South Africa to St. Pete, here are some images of the work of Chairman Omali Yeshitela to build solidarity with African people. So you see here the chairman here, in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and comrades in Ireland expressing solidarity with African people because of the work of the chairman. And also on the right, Chairman Amalia Chatela pictured with Ernesto Bustillos, who was a leader in the Mexican liberation organization Unión del Barrio, which the party still has a very deep fraternal bond with today. So the chairman has also, you see chairman on the right side here with comrades from Iran, and as well here on the right with Winnie Mandela in South Africa, and continuing to build international solidarity. The Uhuru movement is all over the continent. You can find us. Here is just some images of us in Sierra Leone and South Africa, and continuing to build. And just an image here of Chairman Amalia Chatela in 2019, who was invited to the Oxford Union debate to debate on the state of Africa having a closer union. And so just want to, use these examples to show the ideological and the political advancements that the African liberation struggle has been able to continue to put forward under the leadership of Chairman Amalia Chatela. But as we say, African internationalism is a theory of practice as well. And so you can see some of these works, some of the concrete examples of material solutions to the conditions that African people face here with one of the projects in St. Louis called the Black Power Blueprint. So the Black Power Blueprint is led by the architect of the movement, Onezene Yeshatela, who is the deputy chair of the African People's Socialist Party and also happens to be the wife of Chairman Amalia Chatela, and leads very profound and really important programs under this banner. So here you see the farmers market and some of the volunteers in the garden, as well as the Uhuru House, which was built following the murder of Mike Brown, which is why the Black Power Blueprint stayed in St. Louis and realized that the African community needed power. We did not lack anything except that we were suffering economic and political power. So these are some images of the some of the institutions that were built, some before and after photos. And the before photo, there was actually like no floor in this building as well. So these are like dilapidated buildings that have been completely restored. And then also the One Africa, One Nation marketplace, bringing, opportunities for vendors and real genuine economic development, and, restoring what has often been, called as a food desert, as what the chairman coins as a power desert, that Black people don't have power. And so here are some concrete examples. And you see the Gary Brooks Community Garden and Gary Brooks himself, which the garden was named after there on the left, which grows fresh fruits and vegetables. And those tulips, if you ever see them, they're just so beautiful, in the garden. And these are just some pictures of the volunteers, and Onezene Yeshatela taking a seat, which you never see. So I just love that image there. But this just shows some of the work of the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru movement, and the programs that have come from this theory. And salute to Jamie, the artist, who created this really beautiful mural. And there's everybody there under the mural in St. Louis, Missouri. And I actually don't have a picture of the updated photo, but we just had an opening of the Black Power Vanguard basketball court, which was just built. You can check that out on the Black Power Blueprint Facebook page. Really powerful opening to the community. Many people that came out and just were on the courts playing, and this is now open to the community so that African people have safe place to play and recreate. And here's an image of some of our comrades from Anwo there, celebrating on the basketball court. And an African independence workforce program, housing for African people who are coming out of the colonial prison system that need a place to live, and sometimes are left, stuck in prison because, they have nowhere to return to. And not only do they get to return to these beautiful homes in the African independence workforce program, but now they also get training in culinary arts as well. So these are just some of the other programs, and you can see the before and after pictures of these. And in August of next month, there will be a grand opening of the African Independent Workforce Program, which was named after Comrade Mafundi Lake, who is a political prisoner, and we want to salute that comrade. And the African Doula Project, which this was the first day of the training project, or maybe not the first day, but one of the days of the training to train African women to become doulas in St. Louis, where, you know, you have a situation where enough Black babies die in 1 year to fill 15 kindergarten classrooms. And we keep saying that because it's important for people to know that these are concrete solutions to to the ways that African people are oppressed. And we have built this program. This program was initiated on July 29, 2022, and graduated 14 African women who are now doulas in St. Louis. And the beautiful thing about this is that we want to fill those 15 classrooms with children who are happy, alive, and healthy and ready to learn. And the African Women's Health Center, the Uhuru Wakulea, which means freedom to nurture, Women's Health Clinic as well. These are some of the other projects of the of the Black Power Blueprint, another concrete examples of what the work of the African People's Socialist Party has produced, as well as the Uhuru Health Festival, Uhuru Furniture, again, Uhuru Pies, and just support throughout throughout the party's work for over 50 years. So it's no doubt why they were attacked on July 29, 2022, and they're not going to attack us on 2023. So I'm going to just, that's a typo. But this is what initiated the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense campaign. So immediately after we put out, getting the people to get involved with this fight back, letting everybody know that if you denounce the FBI's, attack on the Black liberation historically and currently, or if you just unite with African people's right to advocate and to organize for the unification and self-determination of African people, or if you just can't stand the FBI, you need to get behind this campaign. And we had, we continue to have thousands of people who have gotten behind this campaign, who are volunteering, who are holding actions and doing all this work to help put forth the banner of Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Freedom, Hands Off Africa, Hands Off Chairman Omali Yeshitela. So we understand that these bogus indictments are really just an example of indicting free speech. The ability for African people and colonized people to speak out about what is happening, because we have a government who cannot stand when the people tell the truth, because here we go, continuing to expose what is happening. So what happened after July 29, 2022 is that 4 members of our movement were indicted as, or named as unindicted co-conspirators. This was Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Akile Anai, who leads the media and communications work of the party, and 2 of our Solidarity comrades, Penny Hess, who chairs the African People's Solidarity Committee, and Jesse Neville, who chairs the who chairs the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And we, in the process of this campaign, we learned about the series of attacks, past and present, that continued to happen, learning that in 2015, Chairman Omali Yeshitela was added to a hit list, a Ukrainian hit list, as an assassination attempt. Before there was any declared war against Russia or Ukraine, the CIA had its finger on the chairman, and as well as comprehensive list of attacks that happened prior to July 29 on July 2nd, with somebody coming in broad daylight, torching the red, black, and green flag that hangs outside the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida. A petition that had collected over 100,000 signatures, completely wiped clean from change.org. Members of the Uhuru movement unlawfully arrested. Threats of indictments, a church that went up in an inferno of flames on January 2023, earlier this year, 162 days following the raids. And in February, a county, commission board in St. Petersburg, Florida, revoking a grant to Black Power 96. And this is still a fight back. And we're going to come back hopefully in the future and continue to give the people updates on the continued attacks on Black Power 96 radio station. And again, these economic attacks that happen on the Black Power Blueprint, Black Star Industries, APDF, these continued economic attacks where we had the banks working with the FBI to close down accounts, GoFundMe withholding money, Facebook withdrawing the ability to have fundraisers, Stripe, withholding donor pledges, and basically targeting and labeling the Uhuru movement and its entities as politically exposed, people or organizations. And so we fought back with many of these with against many of these attacks, which even forced some of our institutions to have to pay huge balances within 30 days or so. And, these are institutions that have always paid bills on time, if not early. And it's really important to say this, that these are completely state attacks. And we led a really, really powerful campaign against Regions Bank, saying crash Regions Bank, and hands off the self-determination programs of the party. And Hands Off Uhuru has gone around the globe. We have, taken this to South Africa, throughout the continent, in Europe, in Jamaica, like in the Caribbean, and all throughout these, so-called United States. And so we want to salute the comrades of the international organizing committees who continue to lead this work. And Uhuru Hands Off Africa just got back from a delegation to Cuba as well, joining a committee out of Los Angeles, California, the LA Hands Off Cuba Committee, really winning international solidarity with this struggle as well. And continue to be in the media. It's really important that we, understand that when these attacks happened, the party did not have news cameras coming to ask what happened. The party had to build its own, using its own institutions like the Burning Spirit TV, its own institutions to put forth, what happened and to expose the state. But we have to acknowledge and appreciate the media who has invited and who is, opened up the door to have these democratic, free speech, debates or, discussions around what happened and to talk about these attacks, because it's important that everybody knows. So we want to salute much of the media who has done this as well, Uhuru, and even put forth resolutions like the Sanctuary City resolution, which made it clear that the St. Louis police and the St. Petersburg police worked with the FBI to attack the Uhuru movement on July 29. And this resolution, the Sanctuary City resolution, making it clear that city governments and police must refuse to work with federal agencies to attack Black community organizers who are doing work that is, uplifting the community. So these are just some of the fight backs that the Hands Off Uhuru is a part of. And we encourage you, if this excites you and you want to get behind this, to join this campaign, because right now we are at a period where on April 18th of this year, the U.S. government, 9 months after the raids, indicted 3 members of the movement. This is Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville, our solidarity comrades. And this is known as the Uhuru 3. And so the Uhuru 3 had to go and get, checked in May and, put in chains and, iron cuffs and sitting in cells for hours and released on like a $25,000 signature bond, and now have to, passports removed. And it's just a complete, bogus indictments, as we understand. And so we say, drop the charges on the Uhuru 3. And to explain exactly what these charges are, it's important for us to understand that what the Uhuru 3 are being charged with it's under U.S. Code Section 951, also known as the Agent of Foreign Governments Act. And this is essentially, coming out of the Espionage Act and really used against people, essentially for being, like secret spies or agents. This is a very serious charge and carries up to a 10-year prison sentence, and which the DOJ has charged as, espionage light. And these are really, as we say, in serious charges and essentially a death sentence for Chairman Omali Yeshitela, which we will not let happen, but this is what they want. This is what they plan to do. So we say, drop the charges against the Uhuru 3, stop the FBI attacks on the African People's Socialist Party, and we demand that white people also say no to the FBI's war against Black liberation. And we demand, and we will, as we have said, we will put the state on trial, because we understand that freedom of speech has always been illegal. And we have some images here that just show that it has always been illegal for African and colonized people to speak out about what is happening against us. We even have Brother Malcolm X, who in 1964, speaking at Oxford, and a year later assassinated. And the picture in the corner, Bobby Steele gagged and bound in the courtroom, unable to represent himself. African people being lynched, just for being, who we are. And so we understand that these are colonial attacks by the FBI, which was formed in 1908 and waged counterinsurgency on the Black Revolution, Mexican Revolution, Bolshevik Revolution, any revolution of people fighting back. I have this picture here because I do want to show that just recently, we have these mass meetings for the movement, or, for the Hands Off Uhuru campaign. And it's a really and great opportunity for us to mobilize the people. And we want to appreciate our most recent one with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. And also Comrade Mike Africa, both who have come out of, struggles and, families who have been terrorized by the state. And we want to salute these comrades because they're still here. And we want to quote Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., who said, "You can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution." And that's what this campaign is about, is that we want the people to know that we should be confident in this period because we can stand behind the leadership of the party of over 51 years of relentless leadership, and who for the first time has won solidarity with white people to work under the leadership of the African working class, and white people who this government wants to scare white people to say that your solidarity comes at a cost. If you work in collaboration with these people, you too will be executed. You too will have to deal with this. But we say freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of association is a right. And if Black people can't have it, then nobody can. And so we say drop the charges against the Uhuru 3. This is the demand, the main demand that we are encouraging everybody to put on your platforms, in your meetings, show the video, make this demand wide and known, because as the chairman says, we are not retreating. We are building, and that we do plan to put the state on trial. So I just want to end by just showing some of the things that you can do to get involved with the campaign. We want to encourage everybody to follow Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Many things that you can do include, signing our petition on our website. You can go to handsoffuhuru.org. We also encourage everybody to, hold a fundraiser. There's information on the website for how to raise resources, because it's really important to know that how are we going to put the state on trial if we don't have the resources? And we have to raise in our first phase $277,500 in order to, complete phase one of, securing the legal representation, but also all the fees and other things that we are going to need to be able to wage a very serious fight back, as I always say, in the courtroom. And so holding fundraisers can help us meet our fundraising goal for this campaign. We invite you to sign up for the emergency response to be alerted if there's any further moves on the Uhuru movement. Bring the chairman, bring the Uhuru 3 to your community to have them speak. Bring any of the committees that exist around, or start your own committee, to come and speak as well. So I want to put out the call to donate. If you're watching right now, or when you are ready, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and make a donation to help build this. We are about 81%, towards our phase one goal, and we're almost there. And that has only been because of the people. And we want people to sign up to receive emails. If you go to the website, you can just scroll down a little bit and you'll see this gray box. Put your email in, sign up, and subscribe to receive updates for the movement. You can check out all of our events on our events page. That's also there. And we want to salute, finally, that the chairman is that this month, or next month, very soon, we'll be releasing The Verdict is In, The Reparations Now. This book is the 40th anniversary and the 40th edition of the report from the 1982 World Tribunal on Reparations to African People. This shows that the chairman's message has always been the same, and that reparations were due then, they are due now, and that we will continue to fight. So we want people to go to theburningspear.store to pre-order this book, because the chairman will be touring as well, showing this book and continuing to build the case to put the state on trial. So just want to appreciate everybody, and just say hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, drop the charges against the Uhuru 3, and join the committee. And salute to comrades like Joko Collective for opening up this space to be able to have these types of, to get this information so we can continue to expose the state. So thank you, comrades. Uhuru.
Uhuru, that was thorough. That was
Yes.
great. Yes, that really was. And so much has happened, right?
Yeah.
There was certainly for me some new information I was particularly struck by the way the financial institutions have been weaponized, right? And it's just another reminder of how, civil society works with the state that serves them.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a great point. And, you mentioned the financial institutions, and part of what is so, and even just coming back from Cuba, and this is just a perfect example, because we understand that in order to really crush any type of nation or movement, economic, you have to be able to crush them economically. And there's a perfect example of one of the economic institutions, right, that came under attack. And by building these economic programs and institutions of the party.
Excuse me.
This is the FBI.
Trying to get to the next slide. There we go.
Okay. Yes. And building these economic institutions that the party builds completely negates any necessity to depend on the state. And this whole idea of welfare, African people needing welfare, it is Europe and the colonizer who lives off the welfare of colonized peoples around the world. And so it's a really important question that you raise, and a really important observation that we all have to understand as well. And that we're all at risk. Yeah. Members of the movement's accounts were also closed as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tasha has a quick question. Put the state on trial. Could you elaborate?
Yeah. So, part of it is understanding that we have all the evidence that we need to define who is the real criminal. This colonialism is really good at creating this narrative that it is individuals or anybody who speaks out that they are the problem, that they are the criminals, but the real criminals live in the White House. The real criminals are in the parliament. The real criminals are the ones who slaughter the indigenous people of this land. I mean, we could go on. And so we look in our communities, and anywhere you see where people are oppressed, people are suffering, we have to come to the conclusion that this is colonialism, and that is by the hand of the state. So when we say we put the state on trial, all of the ways in which the state continues to oppress the people, whether it's the courts, the military, the police, the education system, all of this, the party has proven that this is how you build true economic development, self-determination for the people, and the evidence to which that shows us that what oppression looks like is everything that has come by the hands of the state. So we have all the evidence that we need in order to wage a very serious debate. And one thing that the chairman says is that one thing that they can't handle is a debate. Because the people, anybody who has lived on this planet can understand and can see that people are suffering, and we have all that we need and all the evidence to put the state on trial. But we have to win this in the courtroom, but we also have to win this seriously on the ground. And so this is why this campaign exists, to bring the people into the process. Yeah.
Currently, Joko is looking at the mediated world, right? Media, with an eye toward, what is the kind of media environment we want to create in the world we want, right? A revolutionary world, a just world, a free world. And so, some of that critical information in the update, the attack on Uhuru Radio. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes. Well, I think it's very important. Let me just go off camera real quick while I close this window.
Okay.
Just wanted to say that. Oh no. And the attacks on dishes in the home. There was something in the window. Anyways, so Black Power 96 is one of the institutions of the Uhuru movement. And it's important to even say that on July 29, when the FBI raided the Uhuru House, they even took Black Power 96 off the air. And so this even crippled the capacity for us to put the word out about what was happening. And this radio station provides the opportunity for the African community and anybody who, to put out music that that reflects who we are as African people. And this grant that Black Power 96 applied for was about a $36,000 grant to help improve some of the equipment and really provide a better, equipment and working environment for the station manager, DJ Eddie, who is 100% blind and does remarkable with what he has already, but to improve, his experience as a station manager. And this was, completely revoked in a private meeting by the Pinellas County Commission. And so at this point in the fight back, Black Power 96 has taken this back again and continue to, get petitions signed and bring the community in to help build this. And so we are going to be updating the website soon to provide information about the Black Power 96 fight back. But Black Power 96 is approaching a fund drive, their annual fundraiser drive, which starts in July. So I encourage people to go to blackpower96.org and support this station, because if I can just say quickly that, prior, like when the raids happened, again, the party had to use its own media platform in order to put this out. And we have the Burning Spear TV and the Burning Spear newspaper, which even predates the founding of the party, which was the Burning Spear newspaper was founded in 1968. And this has been the voice of the African nation, of the African working class. And so Black Power 96 is essential. And it makes clear, because there was memorandums even in the past, around attacking Black media and forcing Black media to carry out what people can and cannot say. So Black Power 96 is a very important institution, and it's no doubt that it's going to be continued to come under attack, but we will fight back. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Uhuru.
That was, again, so much information, and it was so rich. And really appreciate you sharing the work of the party, right, to really give some context to what's being attacked and what's at stake. And I can attest from, my years living in the Bay Area as a student, Uhuru pies and cookies are really good.
Oh man,
really good. Yes. And the furniture store, right, is a place to pick up some good stuff.
Definitely.
So yeah, is there, well, I know you shared this, right? But if you, anything else you want to add at this point?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing about the media, just in general, because I think that's a really important point. But I do want to just acknowledge this photo, because one thing I didn't show was that on May 27th, we had an international day of action to call to drop the charges against the Uhuru 3. And we had people from all over the world, in Europe, Africa, all throughout the US, in the Caribbean as well, holding demonstrations to make the demand to drop the charges against the Uhuru 3. It was very powerful. You can find this on our website at handsoffuhuru.org/action. And you can see just the profound stance of solidarity that people who were a part of the movement and people who weren't even a part of the movement just got out there holding a flyer or making things to just say, drop the charges. And but I do want to just really appreciate Joko Collective, because I think, this is, and the importance of Black media in general, carrying out and, talking about what is happening with the Uhuru movement. And I say this because the media plays a really important role. And especially during this period, we can see that the Black media, at this point can really start to internalize and assume responsibility of, helping to advance the struggle of the African liberation struggle by putting out the Black message, could really, through media, through, online platforms. And it's really clear, like I said, that the rulers of this country will control like what Black media is permitted to say, but the Black media has a responsibility to the people. And if if there's no freedom for Black people, then as we say, there can be no freedom for anyone, as the chairman says. And so I really want to call on the Black media to be a part of the vanguard of the struggle, to use their positions to, you know, step forward and to help advance this struggle. Because as we said, COINTELPRO has used the media to assault the Black liberation struggle. And, you know, we have a responsibility to have the drop the charges as part of our agenda, and the media can play a really significant role in this struggle. And I want to salute the media who has played a significant role in the struggle. And yes, so I just wanted to say that, but we must do everything we can, and every square inch of African skills need to come under this banner, and everyone who believes in freedom. So thank you.
On.
Yeah.
You know, I know we're officially over time. But you know, the time limit was our own creation,
Right.
And there's something else I have to ask. As I was looking at the Uhuru 3, and if I recall, Deputy Chair Onizane was also an unindicted person, along with Akili Anai, and are they now no longer under that shadow?
Right. So Deputy Chair, so the 4 unindicted are the Uhuru 3 Chairman, Penny Hess and Jesse Neville, and Akile Anai. Deputy Chair was not named. However, they did not have enough to, charge Akile as a indicted, which, says something to the weakness of their case, which we know is weak already.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's also helpful. I'm glad you asked that question. Uhuru.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right.
Uhuru.
Thank you so much. Yes, Uhuru.
Drop the charges against the Uhuru 3.
Drop the
I
charges.
just want to jump in to say, because I know Yusuf will be saying this in a second, but I jumped.
That's okay.
You're coming back in Mwezi, and we're going to have time to zero in and elaborate on these various areas, on the progress, on the campaigns, on the progress of the legal progress on the indictment, to the extent that it can be actually openly discussed, on the progress of the resistance, on, what it means to, the progress with getting the message to the people and putting the state on trial in the way that you described. So there's no doubt we will see you next month, dear sister. Okay.
Sister Tasha, look forward to unpacking this and giving the people all the evidence that we need to also know how to talk about this. Yeah, so right on.
Yes.
Thank you, comrades. Uhuru.
Uhuru. What happened? Well, I'm not sure what happened to our usual loop there, but I'm not going to worry about it. That brings us to the end of our evening. Those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Joko Collective channel. Again, thank you, Comrade Mwezi. Thank you to the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa. And folks, get involved.